This is the level 3 checkpoint video for episodes 1, 2, and 3. The current position is black to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here, ideally, if we were to have a bishop or some sort of attack in the diagonal, we will be able to attack the queen on the other side, right? But if we were to give a check, the king can always just move here to b4 and then defend the queen. So how can we deflect the king away from the queen? So we would be able to start with bishop d3, bishop d3 check to bring the king away from the defense of the queen, and now we can finish the game with queen f1 check. Wherever the king goes, we were able to grab the queen here and hopefully be able to win the game like this. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here this is an endgame position, right? And we have to find some breakthrough for the pawns to be able to promote into a queen. So here the best move would just be to go with h5. h5 allows them to just be able to grab the pawn, but then we'll just push our g pawn forward. If they were to grab that, we're able to go for f7 and then be able to promote into a queen for the next turn. So we need to consider the different responses here. What if they just move forward here? If they move forward, we can just capture the pawn on the g file. And then if they just keep moving forward, we can just grab their f pawn and then promote into a queen the next turn. So what if they just move forward here on the first time, and then we just grab the pawn on the g file? What if they just grab our pawn on the g file as well? We can actually just move our f pawn forward and then be able to promote into a queen the next turn. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here we have to keep in mind what our pieces are doing, right? So our e5 knight is very strong because it's covering some key squares, especially the f7 square, turning this side of the board for the black pieces into a background problem, right? So here, very common move for people to say about this exercise is to just grab the rook here, hoping for them to just grab the rook back, and then you have some sort of checks with the queen, and you can go for some sort of checkmates here. But keep in mind that they don't have to grab back. Yes, they're down material, but they can just defend with the queen. And if you were to grab here, now you don't have this this pawn not defended, right? So the queen will just defend this pawn. And then just have to play chess. Even though you're up material, you might be winning. So in this position, we have to find a brilliant move according to chess.com. Queen takes d5, brilliant move, check. So here, if they were to grab the queen with the rook, remember our background problem because of the knight covering the f7 square, we would just be able to grab the rook here, and then they only move, just bring back the rook to d8, and then that will be just checkmate against the black pieces. So here, they cannot grab the queen back, and if they were to move the king to f8, that will just be a checkmate in 1, because the knight is also covering f7 square. What if they go with the king to h8? Then we can actually go for the pattern that we've been practicing a lot in our videos, the smaller mate. With the check on the knight here, if the king goes to f8, that will just be checkmating 1, like this. But if the king goes back to the h8 rank, we can actually just sacrifice our queen, and the king cannot capture because the knight is covering that g8 square. So the rook would take, and then we just smother the king, being blocked by its own pieces. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this endgame position? So here we have to be precise, right? We need to be able to find the move g6. g6 has a few responses, right? So what if they don't do anything about g6 and they just push their pawn forward? Then we would just be able to capture their f7 pawn and then be able to promote into a queen the next turn. What if they go with something like this? H captures g6. Then we have to find the very precise move here, f6. f6 makes black piece stuck really, because what if they just capture the pawn on h5? Then you will be able to capture the g7 pawn and then promote into a queen the next turn. So what if they just capture your f pawn? We don't have to capture back on the g file. We can actually just move forward and then be able to promote into a queen in a couple turns. The current position is black to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here we need to consider that we have a very strong bishop covering along the diagonal here, as well as the queen. So if for some reason the queen were to move somewhere, we would just have a checkmate on g2. That's the idea. And then also we can see that the queen is protecting the rook. So how can we deflect the queen from this? We need to be able to find a brilliant move here. Rook e8. Brilliant. Because we're deflecting the queen. What if the queen were to just capture the rook here? We would just be able to provide a checkmate against the white pieces here. Okay. So what if the queen moves to f2? Here we can just capture the rook, and if the queen were to take, we can actually give a checkmate again on g2. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here we have to consider that we have a very strong pawn here on the h file, covering some key squares that prevent the king from defending the rook here. Okay, so we have to think of any checks in the position, any checks here. We can actually capture the rook with the queen. That wouldn't be too good, but also we have a queen check here on b8. The queen will probably go back, and then we would just be able to win a pawn, maybe a couple pawns in the future. But we don't want to get more pawns. We want to go for checkmate or win a lot of material. So here, because we're also up material, our bishops are not doing so great. So we can actually break through with the sacrifice of bishop takes e4. So here we have to consider a couple of responses, right? The first response will be to consider the bishop capturing back on e4. So here, you might be thinking, oh, I can just capture the rook here and be up a rook, right? Something like this. You'll probably be winning, of course, on the response. But then why make it like that when you can make it even better? So not capturing with the queen, but capturing with the rook. Because keep in mind that we're attacking the queen, but we're also about to give some discover checks on the king. So that's probably even better if they were to move the queen somewhere, even giving it away here, right? So if they were to move the queen somewhere, we can actually give a double check to the king, and actually that would be a checkmate because of the pawn on the h file. So we consider that line. What about a different line? What if they just grab it with the pawn here? So here we have to go with a slow move that actually activates one of our pieces that are very strong, that are not really playing right now. So it would be the move d5. d5 opens the bishop and creates a battery of bishop queen in this position. And if they were to just capture the pawn, and remember that the rook cannot move anywhere because it's pinned to the king, now we'll just be able to grab the rook with check, and then we'll be able to win the endgame from here.